Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's explainer. Usually when we unpack these organizational training modules, we just fully expect to be put to sleep, right? Endless charts, dry metrics, that rigid corporate jargon. We've all been there. Just mindlessly clicking next until you finally hit the quiz at the end. But the material we're looking at today, it literally flips that completely on its head. We're breaking down the customer voice, advocacy, and impact. And instead of just burying us in spreadsheets, it actually asks us to look at the real people behind the data. It's about the profound and honestly kind of daunting responsibility of representing them. So what looks like a standard operating protocol at first glance actually reveals this incredibly human, deeply empathetic core.
Just sit with this massive emotional hook for a second. We love you, our customers. This comes straight from the source module, and wow, what a statement of intent. It doesn't say, we value your business, or toss out some generic corporate platitude like, customer satisfaction is our top priority. No, it actually uses the word love. By leading with that, the module sets up this baseline of genuine care before we even touch the practical stuff. It tells us that everything we do, every data point we analyze, every action we take, it all has to stem from a place of real appreciation for the people we serve. It completely grounds the whole process in empathy.
And because of that really emotional foundation, this is way more than just learning a new software tool and moving on. As the text lays out, it's a journey of transformation. Your ultimate goal here, your personal mission, really, isn't just to memorize a new workflow or read numbers on a screen. It's about transforming yourself into a human megaphone for the customer. You have to change how you operate so completely that their realities, their daily frustrations, and their genuine needs become your absolute driving force. You aren't just punching a clock anymore, you're adopting a totally new mindset. So let's move to how this builds. The module breaks this transformation down into two really distinct active steps. Step 1, become known as the voice. And step 2, share the results that matter. What's fascinating here is how this establishes that advocacy is absolutely not a passive state. It's this continuous loop of action. You don't just sit quietly at your desk feeling empathy for the customer. You actually have to do things. You have to step up, make your stance visible, and take deliberate, measurable actions every single day. You've got to move completely out of your comfort zone. Which brings us to who this is actually for. The text talks about the participant in this module. But look, in this context, the participant isn't just someone warming a chair and absorbing information. To hit the goals laid out here, you have to undergo a literal identity shift. It's the difference between just quietly taking notes in a meeting and actively interrupting that meeting to say, hold on, this actually doesn't work for our users. You have to evolve from a passive observer into the recognized active representative of that customer. You become the living, breathing embodiment of their feedback. Let's zoom in on that very first step. Become known. I absolutely love this phrasing from the source material. It makes it crystal clear that doing good work quietly in the background, that's not going to cut it here. You can't just be a silent ally hoping someone accidentally notices your great quarterly report. You have to ask yourself, if your colleagues had to point to the biggest customer champion in the room, would they point to you? To succeed here, you have to successfully shift your public identity. Your team needs to look at you and immediately associate you with a customer's perspective.
Now, what's really interesting is how that destination is framed. You literally become the voice of the customer. Think about the profound weight of that for a second. You are taking on the actual voice of the people you serve. When they can't be in the room or the big decisions are made, when the doors are closed and the budgets are being finalized, your voice is their voice. If you don't speak up, they are entirely silent. They are completely dependent on your willingness to advocate for them. That is a heavy, incredible responsibility placed right on your shoulders. So once you've built that identity, once you truly are that voice, what's next? Well, that's the second step. Share the results that matter. This is all about the action you take once your reputation is set. Because let's be honest, being the voice is completely useless if you don't actually use it. But notice the specific wording, the results that matter. This isn't about dumping every minor survey result onto your manager's desk. It's about cutting through the noise, curating the data, and elevating the specific things that truly impact the real-world experience of the customer. It's highly strategic communication. And what exactly are those results that matter? Well, the source breaks it down into a really delicate balance, what's good for the customers versus what's bad for the customers. This right here is the real test of your advocacy. Listen, it is incredibly easy to be the voice of the customer when everything is going perfectly, right? When the metrics are up and everyone's high-fiving. But this text demands absolute objectivity. You have to report both sides without bias. If something is actively harming the customer experience, you have to bring that forward just as loudly as you would celebrate the big wins.
So, the crucial point is that true advocacy requires serious courage. It means uncovering the good results, sure, but equally and honestly, probably more importantly, confronting the bad results. Just imagine standing in front of leadership to tell them that the product launch they just spent 6 months and thousands of dollars on is actually confusing users and causing a ton of frustration. That takes immense bravery. You might have to deliver news they really don't want to hear, but because your whole foundation is "we love you," you have a strict obligation to present the complete picture. Even when the truth is super uncomfortable, you just can't shy away from it.
Which brings us to the ultimate question at the core of all this. Will you share the results that matter, even the bad ones? It's one thing to just read an explainer about becoming an advocate, but it's a whole different ballgame to actually do it when the pressure is on. It takes real guts to be the customer's voice in an environment that might prefer easy answers over hard truths. So as we wrap up today's explainer, I really want you to ask yourself, the next time you uncover a result that is genuinely bad for the customer, will you have the courage to speak up? Thank you so much for learning with me today, and I'll leave you to think on that.